everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. We are not streaming live over Twitch currently because for some reason I can't get OBS to connect to the Twitch servers. It keeps saying it's timing out. I'm looking at the Twitch status and I'm not seeing anything showing offline, but there's usually a little bit of a delay. So, but we can go ahead and proceed with our meeting. We are recording the meeting. So it'll get uploaded later to our Patreon supporters and such. And I'll keep trying periodically to get the streaming going. I'll let you know if it comes back up. But let's see. We have Erik, Omar, Dan in Brazil, and then somebody else is just listed as fellow Jitser. I'm not sure who that is.
This is John.
Okay, John. Okay, great. Welcome, everybody. So how is everyone? Omar, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. And Dan in Brazil?
I'm currently making the map for Lock Minus and Delta as we speak.
Oh, excellent. And Erik? Okay. If you can turn up your gain a little bit on your microphone, we can barely hear you.
Sure.
Thank you. And Jonathan?
Great.
Good. And your gain is just right. All right. So let's go through our status updates on our blog postings and such. And then we'll have some other things we can address. So I believe, was it Erik, you were the closest to finishing up?
That is correct.
Okay, so where are you at?
We are very close. We are to the second to last blog review in the iterative review process. We had a bit of a minor communications breakdown between Jonathan and I. So I just got his edits recently.
Okay, was that a system or individual problem?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
On my end, I had thought I had sent emails, but I requested an email on the forward. It takes like a good minute, and I'm not sure if it timed out sometimes because of my connection. But yeah, I had sent a couple of emails and they hadn't gone through, and I actually checked the email edits I had sent out a month ago when I had asked what order I was sending these out in, and that one hadn't gone through either. So I don't even know what the issue is there, but I stared at the screen until it did what I wanted it to.
Huh. So you had trouble with the mail server itself?
Yeah, it was slow.
Okay.
Slow to even load messages sometimes. I don't know if that's not.
Nah, that might be the server. That's why we're trying to move everything. So currently the email is still on the shared GoDaddy hosting, which started having problems last May, and so that's why we set up a new VPS, virtual private server that I had more control over, rather than having to rely on their sysadmins. But email is like the most complicated resource you can set up if you don't want to get abused. And so I've been setting up email on the other servers, but haven't thrown the switch yet because I got to then transfer all these accounts and content, and so that's been a problem. So it could very well be it was GoDaddy acting up if it was being really slow to respond. That is one of the symptoms we've been dealing with sporadically with GoDaddy's shared hosting and why we've been trying to get off of it. So I'm really sorry if the system was screwing up your time and work.
That's fine. We'll just we'll check the box through whatever I sent is out there.
Yeah, I will see if I can. I've got the big board meeting coming up this Thursday, and I keep I'm getting pulled in so many directions right now, but I really really want to get the mail moved over because I see it too when it acts up. It's so frustrating. Sometimes it completely times out, and I worry about how much email we might actually be potentially losing because of that, which would be very bad since we rely on it so much. So I'll see if I can throughout the next couple of days try to finish that setup, and then I'll have to announce a cutover time. And the problem with what happens is during the cutover, this is what's the trickiest part with email, is DNS, which is what controls, when you type in rpgresearch.com instead of having to type in an IP address like 43.63.12.98. DNS takes anywhere from 1 to 10 days to finish propagating, depending upon the ISP. So, for example, Roadrunner's a notoriously low-end ISP throughout the country. They to save money, they set their DNS cache to only update like once a week or so. So if we make an IP change, address change, like a mail server change or a website change, Roadrunner users won't get the change for a week or two after we make the change. Yeah, it's really bad. Comcast and others, it's kind of mixed. They're usually about 2 or 3 days. So you have this limbo in between whenever you move services from one IP to another if you can't run them in duplicate, which some things you can, like web services, if it's fairly static content, you can just make a duplicate and run both, keep both servers running while the transition happens and no big deal. But email's really tricky because it looks for the first available server in your listing and then sends it there. And then if it times out, it'll move it to the next one and the next one. So what I have to do is set up the listing for the failover, the new servers to make them. Anyway, I have to put them in a list, and it's complicated. Anyway, but I really need to do it. I've just been hesitant because it requires all my attention to do it right. Because if I get distracted, other things I can kind of jump in and out, like the websites and stuff like that. I can work on piecemeal and jump in and out. The email, if I miss one step, could really open us up to spamming or other abuse big time, and or lose our existing emails, and it's a pain in the rear. So it's the most important infrastructure, and it's also kind of the hardest to move when it's already in place. But we've got to do it because what you're reporting, unfortunately, has been a problem on and off. And I think we've actually lost entire emails because of it. So I apologize for that. If I could get when I get the workflow working on the Plone site so that we can just do it all through Plone, and then Plone just sends you an email to notify you to take a look, that will have better redundancy. Plone has really good error handling. You're not sending it off into the ether. It's there on the server, and and then if you don't get an email notifications, that's not as grievous as the content that you sent getting lost in the mail, as it were. So maybe that's something I could resolve more quickly than the email cutover. I'll have to think about that. Forgive me, I'm on about 2 hours of sleep again, so I might be more rambly than my usual rambly self. Okay, so Jonathan, you tried to send him the responses but couldn't, and so you just now got them finally sent to him because of the email?
Yeah, I got it yesterday after morning.
Okay, so Eric, you have those, and now you just need to merge those.
Yeah, I'm working on that right now.
And then when that's done, you'll just send it to me for the final look over.
I think Omar is there, and then after that, it's you.
Okay. Okay. Whew, man. All right. Well, hopefully we can get this for February. Yeah. Well, we do what we can. Again, I think once I get it working through Plone, I think this will be a lot smoother process because it'll be easier to track. You'll be able to log in and see what's waiting for you. You have a little review thing. I'll show you guys how to see what review requests that are waiting for you, in addition to the email notification. Okay, well, we'll just keep at it till we get it refined and working properly. So how are you feeling about it so far, Eric? Have you found the process, other than the bugs, have you found this process helpful for you?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, and once we aren't having to rely on the email just becomes a notifier. I think it'll go much more smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you like the review process? You feel like you're making a better article because of it?
I do.
Good.
I think everybody has a little bit different way of viewing things, and it's definitely helped to fix a bunch of definite grammar issues, but also a couple of voicing issues.
Right. Well, and that's the beauty of peer reviews. All those different perspectives do really help, and so I'm glad you're experiencing that, and yeah, we'll keep doing it, and it'll get smoother and faster and less time consuming for everybody as we practice it each time, and that's why it's there, is to get everybody good at that. We may have 1 or 2 new researchers coming on soon, by the way, so they'll have to learn as well. But another reason why I need to hurry and get that working on the site. As the peer review becomes more people, all the more reason the efficiency needs to be better too. Otherwise, we'll be bogged down forever. And at some point, we'll have to pick a threshold that says only need X number of people to review it rather than everybody. So if we end up with like 100 researchers, which might seem like a pipe dream, but 2 years ago we had 6 volunteers and we're at 53 this week. So it might not be beyond the realm of possibility to get that large on the research side. And so where we were total is about where we are right now with researchers. We have about half a dozen. Not all are immediately active because of various reasons, but it is entirely possible that in 2 years we could have 100 people being involved in various ways to the research here, which would be wonderful, right? Because the more eyeballs we get on this and the different perspectives, we have so many research questions we want to answer. I would love to see that happen over time, that we have that much of a resource available for everybody. We'll see if it happens. It's not a requirement, but it would be nice, and it's a possibility, but we got to make sure we can handle it. Okay, so that's coming along. You need to fire that off to, you got to incorporate Jonathan's changes, and then you need to fire it off to Omar next.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm almost done Jonathan's changes because it gets faster every time.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, we are getting there then. Okay. So the next furthest along, I think, was Jonathan. Is that right? Or was it Omar?
I think it was me.
Okay, Omar. All right. Where are you at, Omar?
So I also had issues with the email.
Right.
I had issues contacting you because I sent you 3 emails, but apparently only 1 actually sent for some reason.
Ugh.
And one of the emails was just asking you who the newest members are, because I actually do not know. So I can know who to send the draft to.
Oh. Okay. That's a good point. I thought I had set up maybe I didn't finish. I thought I'd set up a page in the researcher section. Let's see here. Hello. You hear me?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought I set up a page in the researchers section that specified the current status, but maybe it was something I did in my head and didn't. Let me log in because it might be.
Which website is that? I'm assuming that's the new one.
Yeah, the public one. Let's see here. But I'm not sure I did. It might be something I was going to do and I got pulled off on something else here. Let's see, research questions, populations, focus, surveys, archives, information for researchers. Okay, that's all there. Old repository. Oh, where might it be? Staff volunteers, progress logs. So if I didn't create such a page, then I need to do so. See, add your research. Nope, nothing there. Archives. Internal focus. Nope. Standards, methods, and procedures. Internal peer review process. Okay, it looks like I published the page with the internal peer review process, giving examples of, but not a specific up-to-date list. So that is a good point. So let me put in our, so I have this internal peer review process page. So if you go to research, on the website, in the menu up along the top, go to research, terminology and standards, then methods and procedures. There's an internal peer review process page in there. Should I add in that? Would that be a good place for everybody, for me to put a page that says who are, what your ID number is as far as who the newest researchers are, to do it, what order to do it in? Would that be a good enough spot for you guys?
Let me just repeat that address, please. Sorry.
So you'll go to rpgresearch.com, and of course you need to be logged in. Well, actually this is public, but anyway. Although I'll probably make this page private, just because, I don't know. We'll see. Go to research, then terminology and standards. These are the links that you're clicking. Then the folder methods and procedures.
Right. Internal peer review process, is that it?
Well, that's the process. So that's the process we want to use. So you'll want to read that if you're not up to date on that. But that won't have the list of researchers. So I'm going to, in that same folder, though, under methods and procedures, create a researchers peer review order list. And let's see here. I don't think I'm going to make that page public, so just make sure you're logged in. And it's just going to be a simple list that's just going to have, I'm not going to duplicate contact info in, because there is, everybody knows about the contact page, right, under the staff folder, staff contact list. Does everybody know about that?
I do it, please.
Okay, so that, I'm not going to duplicate that information because then it could get out of sync, but I will list just the ID number and the person's name, just the researchers. Will that be useful enough for you?
I think so.
You'll have to manually cross-reference under the contact list, if it's not already in your email client or whatever. And again, hopefully you won't even have to do that. I've been trying to figure out with the Plone thing how I could code it so that it automatically, but that's getting into programmatic stuff that I'm not quite up for these days. My Python was never that strong compared to Java and such. So, but we'll see. Anyway, so let's see. So, and I'm going to list it from senior to at the top, and then so you'll use the list in reverse. But that's the easiest way. Just keep appending to it versus if I do it the other way, it might not always, work out. So let's see, /1. All right, and so let's go through this and see who is what. Okay, log in and go to staff and contact list. Okay, well that doesn't work because of that. Okay, let's What's the role? There's roles. Okay. Facilitator, GM, vice chair, GM player, artist. Player, GM. Okay, research assistant. We have, I think, is it Erik? Erik, are you the first one on the list here? Are you that senior? Were you on board before anybody else? As far as research team? Did we lose Erik?
I think so.
Oh, nope. Hi, Erik.
Sorry, sometimes my mic goes.
Yeah. Okay, all right, so let's see. All right, that's highlighted. All right, Omar was right around the same time, so you're just right back to back. Okay, so Erik's 31. Omar's 32. Angela, who is still kind of offline at the moment because of the hurricane, but we're reaching out to see where she's at. It's 33. So that was kind of as a bunch there. Jonathan is 41. And Sabina, I don't think she's going to follow through. I'll list her, but I think she's changed her mind. What's that? Actually, she's 44, sorry. 42, The Life, the Universe, and Everything is taken by James Dempster, who was one of our graphics artists for real-time broadcasts. Let's see. Shane. Let me see if this is anything. It looks like it's spam, but I gotta check. Hello. You're calling for Lakeside High School or from Lakeside High School? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of a meeting here, and I don't even know where Lakeside High School is. All right, take care. Bye. I don't even know what school that is. All right. And then, did I miss any? Okay, so you got Jonathan. Come on, mouse. Let's see. Erik, Omar, Jonathan. So Dan, are you planning to be doing research and blogs, or are you just here to learn stuff as a GM?
In my case, I think I want to do some research as well.
Okay, because
my current project, though I don't really have much of a schedule for it, is to deliver on that thing with Brazilian project, the RPG in nursing education. I do have some info on that, and I could present it here if you wish. But
we can do that in a little bit. I'm trying to understand how much research you're going to be doing, because I don't want to. If you want me to treat you the same as the other researchers, or if you want it to be a lower priority, I just kind of need to know where to place you, because that means if you are going to be a research assistant as well, I put you on the list for doing the peer review of other people's stuff as well.
no, I feel free to put me on the list.
Okay, well then
Might not
that puts you at 39.
be closer, so it I might have some delays regarding research and everything.
Okay, well, we want to be careful about that, because we don't want you to hang up anybody else's paper if you're not actively engaged. So let us know if we need to remove you from the list. But I'll put you on there for now, and then just let us know. Okay, Sabina. By the way, Dan in Brazil is number 39. So we have a new one. She's still in the odd board process. Catherine goes by Cat. Just joined as well as a research assistant, number Her number is 52. But she's still onboarding. And I'm trying to remember what. Let me take a quick look at her interview notes so I can kind of give you an idea where she's coming from. I think she just finished. If I remember correctly, she's the one who just finished her bachelor's in psychology. Is now working on bachelor's in anthropology, if I remember correctly. Come on. Where's my interview notes? Why is that showing me that? There it is. Yeah, I think that's who she is. And actually, she's actually here going to Eastern Washington University, surprisingly. So that was a pleasant surprise to have somebody that was had gone to the same school there. All right, so that is. I will now go ahead and save that. It's very simplistic. Let's try. Let's see, which browser should I use here? RPGSN.net. Let's log in. All right, is everybody logged into the RPGSN?
Hold on.
Oh, it looks like I was fiddling with the chat plugin there, so it looks like it's turned off at the moment. So I need to fix that. It was having some weird issue that I had to fix. Let's see if I can turn that back on. Oh, we will get there. Patience, just hang in there, everybody. We will get there. This will start going a lot more smoothly once things are dialed in. Okay, system tools.
Yeah. No worries. Just an anecdote. I've been testing the first encounter on Lockline and Fandover, and to check on my rostering if I can handle things efficiently, and it went a lot smoother the second time around.
Yes, having a roster definitely, especially if you start to get little larger groups, it definitely makes things go more smoothly over. Yeah, especially as you get used to it. It takes a little getting used to remember to look it up and where things are, but the more you do it, the more it helps improve your efficiency. So glad that that's helping you. All right, so there's that. Now, oh, it's still there in the database. Weird. There was some test chats that I had done, and it won't get rid of. Weird. I think I have to like delete that whole section of the database table or something. That's a pain in the rear. Oh, this is why I don't like PHP. It's sloppy code, but I don't know what else to do for this internal network. All right, so if you guys refresh your, if you're logged into rpgsn.net and then you're on you're logged in and you refresh your browser, the little chat tab in the lower right hand corner should be back. And actually, I'm seeing like a bunch of ats for some reason. I don't know why. That's weird. Anyway, it might just be on my end, I hope. Hello. So there should be a public chat. Should be able to see a room called public chat. If I got this right, which I'm not certain I did. But let's see if it's there.
I don't see one right now.
Okay, so in the upper right hand corner, you see a little human icon of the chat box. When you click the little chat thing, it pops out on the sidebar.
Yeah.
Okay. in the upper right hand corner, you should be able to click that little human icon, and it might just say users in this chat, but if you're not in a chat yet, you should be able to maybe. I gotta be in the right. Okay. Yeah, it should list. Okay, let me see if I have to do something else. I think there's a make public chat feature that I still have to turn on. Oh, it won't let me do it because the site's not public, I think. Oh, man. Huh. That might not work if that's the case, because I can't make the site public. So let me see. Let me try adding you guys to this chat, and we'll see what happens then. Okay, so I'm going to add Erik. And Omar. And Jonathan. And Dan. Ooh, which Dan is that? Oh, that's right. You're under Xanagui, aren't you? Yeah, okay. And Erik Omar, is that everybody? Am I forgetting anybody? So I added Erik Omar, Dan, and Jonathan. You guys should have a little. So I see that Erik has joined now. I show Omar and Dan a little yellow mark, and Jonathan, you have a red mark. I think that means you're not logged in.
Yeah, I'm reconnecting
okay.
to my internet right now.
Okay.
Don't see any rooms, actually.
So
it just says no chat rooms.
So Erik, I show you connected, and I see it says I've been added. Hooray!
I clicked on the at, and then at the top where it says no chat rooms, there's another little at button. I clicked on that, it shows me a list of chat rooms.
Okay. Ah,
Which one are
that's it. So on the so the at where there's no chat rooms, you click on at, and there's a list that says public chat. Although I see there's one that says default everyone chat, but we're going to just do the public chat one for now. Oh, and it does have a transcript feature. That's good. Yeah, nobody's responded to me in any of these chats, so I haven't really gotten a chance to use any of them. So I have no idea. Okay, hey there, welcome Dan. All right, Dan is in there now. Good. We got 3 of us in there. Now we just need to figure it out for Omar.
I'm on. I see you guys.
Say hello in the chat room then.
Yeah, just a second. My antivirus is freaking out.
Okay. Okay, thunderstorms in Dan's area. Power suddenly went out for a moment, so if I poof out of existence, you know what happened. All right, thanks for the warning, Dan.
Seeing the comment down in just a second.
So, Jonathan, it looks like you're on the website. It looks like we're just still waiting for you to join the chat room. Do you need...
Yeah.
Okay, so if you click on the little thing to bring out the chat sidebar right in the lower right-hand corner, okay, and then go up to the top. There's a little human icon. Look to the left of that. There should be an @ symbol. but there's like
Oh,
a,
okay.
okay, click on that, and that should list chat rooms. And there's public chat, and you can click on the arrow in public chat, and that should work for you.
Alright.
Sorry.
Greetings to you as well, Jonathan. All right, so now we just need Omar to be able to say hello once his antivirus stops freaking out.
Ah, there we go. Did that go through?
I don't see you. Did you post in a different chat room?
No, I see you all, guys.
I think you joined the default everyone chat. You want to pick public chat.
I see it has him on the public one.
Oh, you see him? Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Now I see it. So you guys saw that long before I see a hi and then hello. You guys saw that before I did?
Seems like it.
Apparently.
Oh, goody. Wonder how much latency we're dealing with there. All right, well, we'll have to figure out that. Okay, so I did this, I went through all this hassle because I wanted to be able to just copy and paste the link there rather than in Jitsi, because I'm hoping this will stay more, right? So first of all, if you're not already familiar with the staff contact list, bada bing, bada bang, bada boom, there is the staff contact list. All right, and then the page I just created, where did it go? Researchers peer review order list, and there is that. Although, I'm a little annoyed with how it's not showing, the way it's summarizing the link, it's not showing, anyway, whatever. So that second link should show your, oh wait, no, did I screw up? Oh, I guess I screwed up. Gave you the staff contact list twice. That's weird, why did it? All right, let's try this again. Get in the right browser. Where'd it go? Get too many. Try this link. Okay, peer review order list. Posting the link. It looks exactly the same, but that second link should take you to the peer review order list. And of course, you do need to be logged in. Oh, I sent it to you under a different domain. I'm sorry, guys. Let me delete that, and I'll try again with using the same domain, so you don't have to create. It'll end up the exact same server, but you'll have to create new cookies for that domain. I need to fix that, so it doesn't do that anymore. That's left over from doing the transition from old servers to new servers to deal with the caching issue. That's a legacy of that. All right, there, rpgresearch.com. Yeah, now the link should show up. There it is. You guys able to see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
rpgresearch.com/research/terminology, standards, methods, procedures.
Researchers peer review order list.
Yep, I see it. Org/1, Erik/31, Omar/32.
Yep, you got it. Okay. So that will give you guys that reference. Again, hopefully I can figure out some way programmatically over time through the website to automate things better. Till then, at least we've got the info there, and just cross-reference those two pages between the contact list and that when you're, checking off your peer review process. Okay. All right. Let's back to I guess it was Omar. Where are we at on your paper, your blog?
I just needed to send it to the peer review.
Okay, so now that you have the list, you're going to start doing that with that, right?
So I should send it to Catherine and Sabina. They're both off.
I would hold off on Catherine and Sabina for the moment. So I'll make a note of that. I'll just say don't use yet. So I'll say
So it's Jonathan.
don't use yet.
Then Erik and you, Chris. Angela's still not here.
Correct. So I'm gonna make notes for those three. Don't use yet. And save that. If you refresh your browser, you should now see that those three say don't use yet. So I'm going to need to create a simple table that says who the person is, their ID number, and their status as far as sending. So Dan, if you change, we're going to need to update that status page. Are you guys able to edit that page? Dan, you want to try that? Or do you see on the left-hand column of that page, do you see an edit option when you're on that page? The research.
I do. Let me see if I can. I'm clicking on it, and it says locked. This item was locked by Omar 1 minute ago. If you are certain that you just have abandoned the object, you may unlock the object.
So it says blocked by Omar.
Oh, is that when it
Okay, Omar beat you to it. Okay, that's good. That prevents multiple people from editing the page simultaneously. So that just means Omar was in the middle of editing it. Don't mess with it. You just have to refresh after he's done. Good. I wanted to make sure that so that if you guys, if you know that there's a status change for yourself or anybody, I mean, we all work together. So if you know there's an error in there, go ahead and edit it and keep it up to date if you have up to date information. Okay, cool. And let's see, also, I will turn on comments on this. Oh, it's locked. Omar, are you still on that page?
No.
Okay.
Let me read that then.
Okay, it says it's still locked by Omar. It might take a moment to release.
Should we close the tab completely?
No, since I am the admin, I can click the unlock. Unless you guys saw that too, I'm not sure. But, so I'm going to edit and I'm going to enable comments on this so that you don't always have to change the content. You can just add a comment at the bottom. Say, hey, maybe, this needs a change or something like that. So maybe you're not sure. Maybe you want to make an edit, but you're not sure if you should or shouldn't. You can just comment on that page instead, and then that can get incorporated. All right. I'm always so glad when I can get the workflow features of this software, which I've implemented in the past. When it's working for you guys, it's going to make life so much easier. It takes some real careful thought and planning, but it's specifically designed for what we're trying to do here. And it's just, I've got to have a chance to not be distracted on that too. All right. So Omar, you're going to fire those off today. Erik, you're going to do your last round with Omar and then me. So Erik, can we get that done this week?
Yes, that should be done this week.
Because I would really love to get your blog. I'd really love to get your blog posting up on the page by the 1st, which is this Friday.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
I sent it to Omar already.
Good.
So he's well aware.
Excellent. All right, and then the last part will be you, and then I'll be the last bottleneck, and then once I give you the thumbs up, I can. Do you remember how to post a blog posting? Do you want me to walk you through that?
So,
Let's walk everybody through this. Each of you, because it's been a little while for some of you, and some of you may not have done this. So on the page, we're going to create a bunch. Each of you is going to create your own blog posting. There's 2 ways to do this, and I'm open to input on which way you guys think is best. Because I've been running all these things myself, some of the ways that have worked best as a one-person team may not be the best practices as we grow. So I would appreciate you guys helping in this decision-making. We can either post a blog posting directly in the blog folder, or we can post it in our own folder. Now I have, because it was always me anyway, and occasionally somebody else would submit something, I just put everything in the blog poster, just one big monolithic folder, and it was there, and that way it's all in one place, but the collection ends up making it show up anyway. Normal best practices is generally that users should post in their own folder, and that collection should still, as long as you tag it correctly, automatically show up in the blog postings anyway. The advantage of everything being in the blog folder is, let's say I want to export and import to another server. I only have to export and import that one folder. I don't have to go grab your content from your other folders. So that makes exporting and importing easier, and if user accounts come and go, what have you, there's less of an issue there. But it will become a very, very large folder over time, as opposed to it being more distributed across each of the different users' folders. What are your guys, again, I'm running on very little sleep here, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Which way we should do that?
I think it's fine to post in our personal folders and keep
Okay.
a little more organized and for
Okay.
stuff quickly.
All right. Omar?
I'm disconnected from half of that, so I just got the tail end of it.
Okay. I was asking if we should put all of our blog postings in the blog folder, or do the normal recommended practice of you put it in your own folder, and then the blog collector is supposed to find it as long as you tag your content correctly, as far as what's going to be better with everybody operating. So Eric thinks that it's better that we go with what normally is the standard, which is you put it in your own folder.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
If you're on folder B.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm all back in that.
Okay. And Dan, do you have any... does anybody think otherwise? Dan?
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Okay.
Mostly because I haven't experienced actually posting the blog post that
All right, well,
yeah.
let's practice this, because you're going to be doing this once a month, and actually, so this is where I'll have to figure out the workflow thing too, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so go down the lower left-hand corner for the menu for the www.rpgresearch.com website for under your username, and click that. And you can go to either my folder or dashboard. Let's go to dashboard first, just to refresh for everybody what is in your dashboard if you haven't looked at it recently. And you'll see it's kind of similar to like your timeline on the social network. You've got your news and recent changes and things like that. That is, by the way, customizable, that you can add different portlets and features to that for your summary dashboard page. You guys each can customize that the way you want, just like you can on the social network. Again, there's overlap here. I hope someday we can have everything just on Plone, but Plone 5, they took out so many of the community features like forum and chat room and all that used to be on older versions of Plone. That's why I've kind of had to resort to this other option. Again, I'm not 100% on the RPGSN setup. We'll see. One other option is I might just set up the older version of Plone 4.3, and we would just use that internally, because that has a lot more of those community features, and it would be more it would at least be consistent look and feel, not look and feel, but consistent way of doing things. But anyway, so that's your dashboard. You can tweak that how you want. Go back to your username in the lower left-hand corner, click on My Folder, and this is where you would actually add content. So in here, I created a folder. So let's walk everybody through create. Has anybody created their own blog folder in there yet?
I just did.
Okay, because if you just dump everything in your main folder, it'll get really cluttered fast. So what you do is in the left-hand menu there, which by the way, that's also customizable as far as placement in your preferences, go to Add New Folder. if you don't already have a blog folder. If you want to create a different folder, you could do that. You could say, you know, pending or whatever you want to make it. And so put in blog, and you can summarize it or not. You can leave it blank. Categorization, you know, you can put a tag if you want. You don't have to. Settings, you can go to and say allow discussion. So that allows people to post comments in that folder that may or may not inherit into your individual content. But if you want people to just be able to comment on your overall blog, you could change allow discussion from no value to yes. Or you can say no, because that'll override site defaults. So that's up to you whether you want that or not. And then when you've got that, you go ahead and click save. Now, currently, that is not public. If you look at the state, on the left side, you'll see state. And it'll be in red. This is unless you've made your folder public already. It's state private. So this is a private folder that I believe we as volunteer staff members can see. I mean, I know I can. I'm an admin. So if I click on Omar, I can see your blog post folder and I can go into it, but I'm an admin. I'm not sure if others can do the same. But I think we can because we're part of the same user group. So it's not visible to the general public, but core volunteer staff can access. Now you can tighten down more restrictions if you want stuff to be really extra private, but that's just the default status. So that will not show up publicly. So now once you've got that folder, go ahead and make that folder public, which you'll do this with any content by clicking on state and go to for the folder. You should have the ability to just click publish. Does anybody not see publish as an option? Okay, good. All right, so go and click publish for your folder to make your folder public. All right, I see Omar's is now public. All right, now click into that folder, and you're going to just create a quick page. You're going to go to Add New, Blog Posting. So this is very important. You pick blog posting because that's a content type that I created for the site, that the collector for the main blog will find this content type and publish it when it's in an appropriate state. So you'll click blog posting. And you put in whatever title. You can put test title, whatever you want for now. Put in a summary whatever you want in your summary. It's a little bit separate paragraph. And then you get a little text editor there, which is basically a basic word processor that has a fair number of features. And blah blah blah, whatever you want to put in there, it doesn't matter right now, just something. You have the option to put in a lead image, so you can choose a file. This is what will kind of show up in the upper right-hand corner of your blog posting. And that it is recommended if you can think of a good photo, but be very careful about copyright. I'd rather you posted something with no image or just the RPG Research logo than post something that might have a copyright issue. So be very careful. If you're going to post an image, make certain it's either in the public domain, Creative Commons, or no image, or use the RPG Research logo. Any of those, but it is good to have an image if you can. People are more likely to click on it when it shows up in social media and such if it has an image embedded in it. And then you can put a caption if you want that kind of describes the image. And then you can make a change note. So just you'll notice we don't really have a separate wiki because Plone has wiki-like features kind of built in, which actually I can turn on wiki markup if some of you are more comfortable with that. But it's a way to keep track of to yourself. If you make an edit, you can make a quick note to yourself, and that'll go into the log, the history of it, so you can keep track of your edits. Now, don't click save yet. Did anybody click save already?
I may have.
Simon says. All right, so go back into your blog posting if you already clicked save, by editing it. So you go, you're on it and you click edit and you go back in. And we're going to go to the tab. So there's default tab and then categorization tab. So categorization, for example, Eric, you would want to put something, you'd like start typing BLE to see if it exists, but in your case it'd be bleed, right? It doesn't exist yet, so you create it as a new category. Omar, you might, put, something like start with gender or something like that, whatever you think is a good simple tag. And create a tag for your article. It's not required for it to show up, but it does help for later sorting and showing up in other collections if you use a relevant tag. Now try to look for existing tags that make sense. So before you add a new tag, kind of scroll through and see if you see something that, and you can have multiple tags in here. You can put as many tags as you want. I don't have any restrictions on that. And look through the existing list for any tags you think are appropriate, or you can just start typing, the first letter or two to narrow it down into different sections. The language for now, default is English. We don't have internationalization features turned on currently. That's a whole other thing. The related items current path. So basically, if there's other items in this area, you might see them show up. You could select them. So if you go to like the home folder, you'll see related items current path, and there's the little home house icon /members /your username /blog, right? You can go to like the home folder and go into other folders, or you can start typing and you could say, research, and it'll start giving you listings that you could say are related items to go along with this. And you can click on that and add multiple items. So, for example, if you're referencing papers that we have at least a little bit of a citation for or something on our site, you can just go ahead and add them there, and it'll get associated with this article. So go ahead and just pick something. You can type in whatever you want, but just pick one or two related items you guys would like to add to this little test blog. Doesn't matter what it is. Just, we're going to delete all this anyway.
A question, Hawk.
Yes, Dan.
About, you talk about image trademark, fair use and all that. If I take a picture in real life of a gaming session, and there are, for instance, clearly we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, there are players candles in the middle of the picture. Does that come under copyright?
Luckily, so normally that's kind of the case, but we have permission from Wizards to use their products in every way we want, except for to claim that they're ours. So we've got, and also under fair use, as long as we're not using that to misrepresent ourselves as endorsed, or exclusively saying D&D and such, you're fine. So you can, and a bunch of publishers, we have explicit permission to use their products. Generally, it's not a problem to take a picture of people at the table as long as you have their permission to post their photos. So in that case, you want to make sure you have releases. And we do have, I don't know if they're on, I do have files. I need to get them up on the website if they're not there. I'll remind me before we wrap up, we have a form that says permission to use likeness release form, to use them for video, photo, etc.
One of them was updated recently, wasn't it?
Well, I've been updating, yes, I updated some recently, both for adults and minors. And so that's an important thing, that if you do take pictures of people, that you get their permission to post those photos. You need to have them sign a quick release form. It's, it's a single page. It's not a ton of legalese, but you get those signed and then you email them to us so we have them for our records. So that, let's say like 5 years down the road, somebody sees it in there and decides they want to sue us because we didn't get permission. We can go, nope, we got permission, so back off. It's not like super rigid. Most people don't care in this day and age of social networking, but you get the occasional person who could be difficult, and if they smell money in the water, to mix metaphors there, they might take advantage of that, because if you don't have a release and you use a photo and it's related to your company in some way, you could potentially have an issue. So all of you guys should have, when you were doing your paperwork, signed such releases as well. If you didn't, please let me and Brooke know so we can rectify that quickly. In your bundle of paperwork, you should have had that. Some of you who came on earlier might not have had that paperwork, so if that's the case, we should make sure we take care of that. Anyway, so on that page, continue, go to dates. So this is a nice feature that you can set a publishing date. So let's say you crank out 3 articles all at once, but we want, let's say you just kind of do a binge week or something, you get all the work done, and you don't want to post all 3 articles simultaneously. Maybe you want to stagger them one day at a time. Maybe you're doing a series that each week the next one comes out. You can set a publishing date when it will become public. And you can have an expiration if you want to claw it back so it becomes private again. I generally never use that feature. Once things are public, I like to keep it public. But if for some reason you wanted to, maybe you're doing some progression and you just kind of make the other one disappear because you're adding more or whatever. There could be reasons. So that's a neat feature there. You can set the date and time that it'll automatically go public. Now, you guys may or may not use that. Generally, what's going to happen is you guys are going to submit for publication, which we'll get into in a minute, and then I will, or whoever else is admin, would actually to make it become public. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So that's dates. Ownership, you can add other people who can edit. I think all of you guys have edit permissions. As we tighten down permissions, that might change. But you can put a list of creators. So if you feel somebody else really helped with the content, or contributors, or copyright statements that you want to have in there, that's where you can flesh that out. It'll show up automatically for you at the bottom of the article. And then under settings is where you can allow discussion. Generally set that to yes. I need to set that to the default. I'm not sure why it's not doing that right now. I like all of our content to be open for discussion. And then the short name lets you make a shorter URL. So let's say you have a really long title. The infectious rates of orc fleas and ticks on wolves or something, like really long title. But you could just type in orc ticks wargs, something like that, and you use there's no spaces. It's a URL, so you would usually use hyphens or underscores. I prefer hyphens. Use hyphens to separate each word and just make it a nice short URL so it's not super long. Do use that if you have a longer title. If your title is more than 3 to 5 words, use that short name feature, please. You can exclude it from navigation. That's just kind of a clutter thing. You probably will never need to use that, but it might come up. It lets it not show up in the navigation bars and such, but that can also make it harder to find, so you guys usually won't use that. And then versioning enabled, that should always be enabled. That way each edit you can roll back to a previous edit if necessary, or look at different edits and such, so it keeps a history. And then we have layout. This is coding, custom stuff. You guys will probably never touch that, so don't worry about that unless you want to get into style sheets and everything. So once you've got all that, then you can go down and click on save. And then that will be in your folder. Now, it will not be public at this state, right? And at this initial point, it is private. And I want to see something as you guys do that, just to make sure my collection's not screwing up. Good. It is not showing up. If you guys click over to the main blog folder on the main website, rpgresearch.com/blog, you will not see the content in the collection there. You should not. Okay, so now if you have your test blog posting selected, so you're on that page right now, we're going to go through what the correct. We're not going to go straight public, right? I showed you that feature already with the folder. So that's how you can publish yourself directly. But the correct process is submit for publication. This is where I still have to refine the work process. But you click on state, and instead of clicking publish, click on submit for publication. Now, it doesn't look any different except it's yellow instead of it's not blue and it's not red. What that is supposed to do is notify anybody who's on the reviewers list. And again, I haven't enabled all those features yet, but basically anybody who's on the reviewers list would get an email or notice. In fact, it might be in the dashboard as well. Let's see here. Error in this portlet. Uh-oh. Why is that? I've got a couple of errors. I have to figure that out. Anyway, eventually what will happen is you'll get an email and or you'll see something show up on the site that says, here's some content waiting to be looked over. It's been submitted for publication. It won't go public until a reviewer goes through it. Now, for now, that's me. So every time and for now, you guys will just tell me I've submitted it for publication until I've got the automated features fully functional. But in the status, it still should not show up in the main blog, right? And it's not public yet, but it is ready to be looked at. And I think if I go home, do I have somewhere I need to have a review folder enabled? And I don't see it, so I'm going to enable that now. On the right side, events, news, live stream, calendar, community updates, events. All right, so I'm going to add a portlet, and it's going to be. Oh, do they not have that anymore? A review list. Okay, there it is, review list. So, and press icons, press thumbs, and save. So now on the very front page, at the bottom of the portlets on the right side, oh, there's an error. So the review list feature is breaking. Why is that breaking? It must be a I have to enable some sort of workflow process. I bet that's why that's breaking. So I'm going to have to debug that. But anyway, that'll show up in your dashboard. And if you go to the front page on the right side, just above news, below blog postings, there'll be something that'll say review list. Right now that's breaking for some reason, so I got to look into it. But that'll also be a way that if you're hitting the page and you'll notice, hey, there's stuff here that might need to be looked over. So you at least get the idea of how that will work in the near future. So back to your folder, in your blog posting folder. So let's say I'm going to look at Omar's folder here. Just picking on him because he's right above me in the list for some reason. And okay, so Omar, I noticed you put your test blog posting outside of your blog post folder. You put it in your main folder. You didn't put it in your blog post folder. So you can click on that test blog posting file and you can do actions. So on the left-hand side, actions, cut, and then go into blog post folder and do actions, paste. And that'll actually move it into that folder for you. Let me know when you finish that. Okay, I see it. Okay, so now I am going to take a look at it. Since you've submitted it for review. Looks like it's just a title. That's all you did was a title for that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want me to add something to the
Well,
for words?
it's fine. I mean, it would help a little bit, but it's okay. I can actually at this point retract or send back. I can send it back to private, to the original author instead of publishing it. Usually, it gives me an option to include why, etc. There's also advanced and policies. But at this point, I can go ahead and hit publish. And so it's test blog posting was the title of it. I'm clicking publish now. So that is now public. Everybody can see that in your folder publicly. But if everybody goes to the main blog folder, hopefully it won't embarrass me here. Good. You will see now at the top of the blog collection is test blog posting by Omar. Everybody see that? Under the main blog posting, the main site.
Yeah,
I see it.
Good. So Eric, I notice your blogs folder is set to private. I don't know if that's an issue or not. I'm not sure what'll happen. Let's take a look. You haven't submitted your test so everybody go ahead and submit your blog test for publication. Everybody set it to submit for publication status.
Do you want me to, like I said, add just text to?
Totally up to you. The key thing is that you're learning this process, how to use this, because this is what you're going to do frequently as you go through all the stages. You're going to use these steps a lot for any content, whether it's video, text, what have you. The process is the same. So you do whatever helps you feel comfortable. If you want to make a couple more, go for it. We're just going to delete all of these tests anyway.
So what happens if I added the one you just published?
What's that?
So I just added stuff to it. Did it just still go public?
Yeah, it unless you retract it back, it's automatically public as soon as you save it.
Okay.
So
So I can see everything in it. So it does seem to be working.
yeah. By the way, John, it looks like you created your John Hooks blog posts in our root folder of the website. You did not create it in your folder.
Sorry about
That's okay. You can move it. So go ahead and click on it, and then click on cut. Actions cut, and then you can go into your folder and then do actions paste. Good thing is it's easy to fix. And if you did anything that just was a problem, I can always do undo. There's a lot of undo features. This is a transactional database driven system, so most things can be undone, which is another great feature of this.
There we go. Let's check this fixture.
All right. So Eric, still not seeing yours in ready to submitted for publication state. Did we lose Eric?
Hola?
Hello, Eric. I don't see your test blog posting in submitted for publication yet.
I might be having some connectivity issues.
Okay.
We've been trying. Sorry. I guess I was muted.
Okay.
I need just a moment.
Okay. Well, while you do that, I'm going to jump to Jonathan's folder. And I see his blog post folder is public. And I see his test is submitted for publication. So I will go ahead and click on that. And then I will set that to publish. Now, Jonathan, that should be in the main public blog posting. If you edit it, that will show up publicly immediately. And let's see Dan, do you not have an account on the public website?
I do. I made a blog posting and submitted it. Daniel Sanata Badia.
Okay. For some reason, it's just not showing. Oh, there it is. Okay, I just had to refresh that. Okay. All right. Maybe, oh, you know what? I think it's because you're not in the researchers group, I think. Let me see if that's the case. Let me check here. Go to user groups, and research assistance group. Yeah, you're not in the research assistance group, so that's why I wasn't seeing it. So let me add you. And add you to the research assistance group. Now if I go back to my folder. Yep, now I see you there because yeah, all right. Good. So I see Daniel Zanigui BR blog folder, which is public, and I see one test blog that's private and one test blog that's submitted for publication. So I ignore the private one because it's not ready. I go to the one that's ready for publication. I change status to publish, and now that should show up in the main blog. All right, let's go back to Erik here, see what his status is looking like. Blogs. And again, when I fix that review list feature, I won't have to click through. It'll just be all in one. Plone will alert me, and I won't have to be a manual process. So I see that's submitted for publication. I click on it, and oh, it's locked currently. Are you currently editing that, Erik?
I didn't think I was.
Okay. Sometimes the browser cache or the server cache can take a little bit. I'm going to click on. You're locked. You're not in that. You're not editing that page currently, correct?
I don't think I am. I shouldn't be.
Okay, I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to submit. And I'm going to publish it. All right. Now we go to the main blog folder. Did I forget anybody? I got everybody right. So we go to the main blog folder for the main site, and we see test blog posting by Omar, test by Jonathan Hook, test blog by Daniel, and test by Erik. See all that? See how it all works semi-automatically? We'll get it more automated over time. So that's when you guys do your submissions, that's basically the process. You're going to eventually just create all of your content in your folder there, which, by the way, you can still use your favorite text editor. There is a plug-in feature that lets you use Word and such linked to the website. It keeps the content on the server, but you're also using your local editor. We'll get into that another time. For now, you can just copy and paste whatever you're using up into there. But you create your posting. It's initially private while you're going through the different edits. As the workflow gets set up, you should be able to select, you'll be able to say submit for review to this person or something like that. I'll have to figure out exactly how the logic is going to work on in this version of Plone. They keep changing each time. But basically you go through a submit through publication process or a submit for review process as you go through the review process. And then once that's done, when you think it's ready, you'll hit submit for publication, and then that's when I will get to do the final eyeballing, and then if it looks good, I will make it go publish, at the public at the appointed time, and that's where that setting the date thing can be handy too. So now everybody go back to your respective blog postings and remove your blog posting. You don't have to delete it, just roll it back to private. So let's say you've decided, oh, no, I don't want to be public anymore, or I made a mistake or whatever, and you're going to just roll it back, retract it. So you'll click on it, and then you're going to do state, and you're going to do retract. You can also send back if it's somebody else's, but in this case, you're just going to retract. And then that will make it so it no longer shows up on the public blog collection main page. So I still see everybody, but Dan's still public.
Mine? I just retracted it.
No, I said except Dan's. Everybody else is still public. Dan, yours is the only one that went private so far.
You said you saw 2 blog postings on me. I only see 1, actually.
Huh.
I do remember that I submitted one and then it disappeared from my blog folder, and I'm not sure what it is. I tried to look at the root folder, but
Okay, yeah, we'll check that out in a second, Dan. Okay, now I still see Eric and Jonathan still public. Omar's is no longer public. Okay, Jonathan's is no longer public, but I still see Eric's public. So when you click on the page, you know, so you have the page selected for your blog posting, you go to state and retract.
Oh, that's why. I think it's because I had. Oh, I hadn't refreshed the page.
Okay, there we go. All right, now they're all removed. But that's why we're walking through this process, you know, so that you get practice doing it. All right, so let me go take a look at Dan's here to see what's going on with his. Let's see, because he says he's. Let's see, there's the folder. Yeah, Dan, I see two of them. I see one at 11:11 a.m. and one at 11:25 a.m. You only see one?
Yeah, I only saw one.
Oh, weird.
And I do remember that I did post two, but then I couldn't find it anymore, so I made a new one and it showed up so that I could continue to go through.
Yeah, it says filed under session report. I'm going to go ahead and so in that folder, hit refresh on your browser.
Let me see.
Because I'm checking with both Chrome and Firefox, and I see it under both browsers.
I only see test blog.
Weird. Well, yeah, there should be two of them that say test blog. I see Daniel Zanigui BR's blog folder, and I click into that, and then I see two test blogs. One posted at 11:11 a.m., one posted at 11:25 a.m. They both say the exact same content. Tell you what, go in the upper left-hand corner once you're in that folder, and click on contents. That'll give you a folder-ish view. Do you see anything there?
Oh, I see what happened. It's before publishing date because I put on a publishing date on that.
Oh, okay. Oh, weird. Okay, that's...
It's 9 p.m. and it's 4 p.m. for me. So,
Huh.
yeah, that explains it. Sorry.
Weird. You hit it, but it's weird that you're able to hide it from yourself that way. That might be a bug. You shouldn't be able to hide your own content from yourself that way. Anyway, all right. So now you guys see that. So everybody go ahead and go into the contents view. So you're in your blog folder, your own personal one. And the upper left-hand corner below the Plone logo on the left menu is contents. Go ahead and click that. And this is the folder-ish view. So this looks like kind of like a file system. And go ahead and put a check mark in front of your blog posting. And then you can either use the icons along the top on the little menu there, your toolbar where it says cut, copy if you mouse over it, paste, delete, rename, tag, state, or properties. Or on the left side, you can go to actions, and there's actions, cut, copy, delete, rename, enable, iCalendar, import. So you can do it either way from the left-hand side or just use the toolbar icons. But whichever way you prefer, go ahead and select those two blog postings, not the folder, just the postings, and delete them.
Mine says it's locked.
Okay, well, is there a little unlock button option? You can go ahead and click unlock.
I see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Mine should be deleted.
Okay,
Mine too.
yep, Dan's gone. And Eric, I still see yours. Omar's is gone. Jonathan's is gone. marks is still there. I can hear him doing little sim sounds there. You having trouble because it's locked?
I should be able to unlock it.
Who's it say it's locked
I'll
by?
refresh the browser.
Okay, yeah, always, if in doubt, refresh your browser. What browser are you using?
This is Firefox.
Okay, it should be fine.
Like that. Like that.
If you get the locked message, see who it says it's locked by. Because if it's locked by me, that might be why you can't do it.
Oh, let's try to edit and see what it says.
Okay.
It says I can edit. It's
Oh.
not locked there.
All right.
Okay, well, I think it's just being strange. Let's try it one more time.
Okay. You're not doing this on a phone or anything, are you?
No.
Okay.
I'm not.
Just checking in case that was an issue. Be gone, I say. Be gone, foul test.
My days are numbered. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing who it's locked by, but I can't edit it using the contents page or the left side.
Oh, weird.
Sure.
Did you see the little state thing on top?
Okay, it says this item was locked by Eric 2 minutes ago. Did you click the unlock button?
There's a little lock, but the only states I can change to are submit to publication.
Okay, but you don't get a little blue bar that says if you're certain this user has abandoned the object, you may unlock the object. You will then be able to edit it. You don't see that when you click on it?
No.
Okay, so that's because I'm an
There's a
admin.
little yellow
I'm gonna click unlock the object, and now see refresh your browser and now see if you can do anything with it.
Deleted. There we go.
So somehow you locked yourself out. You locked yourself out of your own house.
I'll manage that. Yeah, I don't have to edit it. It's just that was-
You locked the keys in the car.
Oh,
All right, that's okay. We got you there. That's good, though. Everybody gets to have practice from this. All right, now, I'm not sure if you guys have this feature or not, but let's see here. Okay, so you guys do not have that feature. So one of the things I love about Plone, especially in a community setting, is it has undo. Now, I don't think non-admins get easy access to that. I think there is a way you can get access to some of your stuff to undo, but it's better if the admin does it. Although I'm not, come on. Interesting, why is that not doing anything? Waiting for RPG research. Come on, respond. Did my connection just... Okay, so for example, Eric, just to make your life difficult, if I wanted right now, I could bring back those files, and I could do it in any state. I could make it public. I could put it back to an earlier version. I've got a list here of all the different transactions for that file.
you log in as an administrator.
Yep, I can force an unlock. I can see the whole log there, and I just click check marks and undo, and it'll roll it back. I'm not going to do it, but you guys get the idea. So the good thing is if you guys accidentally delete content, and you're like, I just spent all this time working on it. As long as it got to be saved, it'll only go back to the previous save, obviously. But if you accidentally delete it, and you're having trouble figuring out how to undo it yourself, then you can just ping me and say, hey, Hawk, can you undo this mistake I made, please? I have to start all over. And I can just, or whoever the sysadmin, we've got a sysadmin training right now as well. They can go into the manage console and undo whatever steps need to be undone. Now, you don't want to wait too long, because if you do too many other transactions, sometimes you can end up in a transaction lock problem that can't be cleared, and you can be out of luck. So the moment you've got a problem that you want to roll back, you want to ask for help. Again, you shouldn't have to do it very often, but it is a nice safety net to have that a lot of other CMSs don't have. And it's very robust that way. I really love that feature. Any questions on that process?
No, I think we'll have questions when once we put it into practice with actual blog posts and see the blog grow.
Sure.
I do have one question that is not technical in nature.
Okay.
The postings I've made on RPG SN about the session reports of Warhammer Fantasy, do you think they should be published here in the meantime?
I think so. Remember, once we had a chance to look them over on the RPGSN, because that's a more casual report. You are welcome, as long as your people are okay with it, to publish that here in your blog as well. And what you would do is you don't need to go through the full peer review for something like that. If it's not one of your research reports, it's just a session report that you want to be public. You can just submit for publication and let me know, and then I'll take a look through it. And then I can give you a thumbs up or down whether it's ready or not. I might say, no, this needs more work. Maybe have somebody help you with it, or I'll say, yep, and I'll make it public. So if it's not research, it's other stuff you would like to post. And all of you guys, if you would like to do even less formal blog postings that aren't research blogs, but that you think would be of interest to RPG research readers, you are welcome to just go ahead and in your blog folder, create a blog posting. It might be musings. It might be Jonathan's musings about the RPG research experience, whatever. If it's a less casual thing that doesn't need research and peer review, then feel free to submit that for publication and get really show that this is an active, vibrant community to the public, and engage readers to start commenting and things like that. So these are your blogs. You are welcome to use them accordingly. Just make sure that the content is related in some way to what we do, which is pretty broad. We cover a lot. These will not show up on our news feed. They will only show up on the blog feed. So people understand that blog is usually more personal and less formal. When we do your essays, we'll do your formal blogs, and those will probably first show up on the blog to, actually I should interject. There will be a state for publication where actually it'll be published for Patreon viewers to read. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to work that out, but basically we're supposed to make all content available to our Patreon supporters first before it's available to the general public. So I still have to work that out in my head, how that's going to look. But this is the general process. But your research blog postings, which are a little bit more formal, will also show up on our news feed because they're going to be better. They're going to be less casual than a purely casual blog posting. So both your blog research postings and your essays will show up in the news feed, but your casual blog postings will stay in the blog folder. Does that make sense? But I would encourage you guys to go ahead and use that now that you guys have an idea of how, and get some practice with it. Feel free to make some blog postings that you think would be, worth posting, which again don't have to be super formal, but that might help draw eyeballs to the site because people will start to want to follow such things. And as these get posted to the blog, our social network manager will start posting those to social media to draw people to look at them, etc., etc. And that will create a ripple effect. And then you guys don't have to post on Facebook, Twitter, etc., because that'll get replicated for you by our social network manager once Brienne's on board and such. So that way you just post it in one place and then it'll ripple out from there over time. Any other comments or questions on this particular process and what we're doing here? Jonathan?
Nope, no questions.
Okay. Any comments?
I find the tool sometimes a little cumbersome, but then again it might just be because the site is relatively empty for now. So yeah, the problem here with my comments is that I am commenting on something that I know that might be just, from the current state of things, but yeah.
Yes, it is. It will over time get smoother. It is a little clunky right now, yes.
Yeah, that's basically it. I just don't, because I remember that you said so elsewhere, don't want to reiterate the point.
That's fine. That's okay. Okay. All right. So let's see. We've gone over Eric's. We've gone over Omar's. Jonathan, where are we at on yours? On your research blog posting. Are you muted? Jonathan? Did we lose him? Can everybody else hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So Jonathan, we can't hear you if you're talking. You might want to try refreshing your Jitsi. Jonathan, can you hear us? It's got a good signal. I don't know what. Hello, Jonathan. I'm try refreshing. Jonathan, can you hear me?
Sorry about that. Just had to refresh.
Okay. Welcome back. So where are we at on your research blog posting, Jonathan?
Currently in a rough draft. I have about 2.5 pages right now.
Okay.
I think I will send that out this week.
You think you'll have it ready for review this week?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. And hopefully if I can get some of the workflow process in place, we might start using that one as a guinea pig for refining that process. Looking forward to that. Remind me about which topic you were doing it on.
Role play, just as a psychological construct, and then role play in tabletop RPGs.
Okay.
So leading into that voice role play, essentially.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing that. Okay, and Dan, how far along are you in the process? So the early process is an outline, then you have your rough draft, and you submit the initial draft for peer review just for ideas. You don't get critiqued on grammar or anything like that. It's just to kind of check out the overall premise and ideas, and everybody else can kind of give you just a rough feedback of your idea and maybe some potential references you might want to check out. So that's your rough draft. You submit for peer review using that list page. And then once you get that feedback from everybody, then you can continue working while you're waiting for feedback on that. You can continue working on refining your draft, but it's helpful to get that early level review. Don't wait more than a week on responses for everybody on that at most. So if you finish a rough draft, you fire it off to everybody. By the next meeting or a week after you've submitted it, you can ping everybody, but otherwise just move on. If nobody gives you feedback, don't worry about it. But then after that, you incorporate any ideas that were suggested, and now you start to polish it and you get it to a semi-final draft, which then you submit doing the peer list, one by one. So the rough draft you can just blast to everybody, and whoever wants to respond can. The semi-final draft you got to do methodically one by one, so that you can incorporate the changes from each feedback. And you start with the newest person first who's active, and then once you get feedback from them, then the next one, until finally you've got everybody's feedback. You incorporate all those changes, so you have your what you consider the final draft ready for review by me, and then I will look at it and either kick it back to you for some final tweaks, or go ahead and start the publication process. Is that clear to you, Dan?
Makes sense.
Okay.
I've been a hard time determining what stage I am on. I think I'm in a rough draft still, but I'm not sure how to evaluate things depending on the quality of my writing. I have posted what I have on RPG and I have links there. I'll post it on GC chat if anyone wants to see it. It's mostly presenting my experience during my research, which was 1 year ago, and the paper in question which addressed the RPG program at the university.
Okay.
It's not very exhaustive. I could go on to examine them a second time, try to get testimonials.
So just to be clear, a research blog posting doesn't have to be super, super, super deep, it can be the beginning of heading towards your essay. So you're supposed to do one blog posting a month and then one essay, research essay every 6 months, give or take. And so the essays are supposed to be as exhaustive and deep as you can reasonably do. But the blog posting, we just want at least 2 citations and is reasonably professional. It goes through the internal peer review, mostly as practice for your better essay later. But you don't have to, your research blog posting does not have to be a full-blown research essay, and it can be in less formal language as long as it's still using APA citation formatting throughout when you do cite. Just so you're aware, because you may not have been in for those meetings explaining that. So it can be the beginnings of research that maybe you'll do it as a series. Maybe as you go deeper, your next blog posting will build on your previous blog posting as you discover and gain more material. That's okay as well. It can be your progression towards your big paper, or it might be that each time you're looking at different topics and you haven't decided on which one you want to do for your paper yet. Does that help clarify, Dan?
That helps a lot, actually.
Good.
So yeah, I have a thing, and the start to learn the thing, basically.
Yep. So if you got a rough draft that you feel you're ready for at least some kind of input, not worrying about grammar and punctuation and any of that, then go ahead and email that just all at once to the active researchers listed on that research peer review list. So that would be me, Eric. Actually, at this point, leave me out because I'm so overloaded. But Erik, Omar. I gotta refresh that page. Erik, Omar, Jonathan. So those would be the 3 people you would fire that off to for your initial feedback. And then they'll, give them a week or so. And if they don't respond within a week or so, don't worry about it. And during that week, you can still be working on improving your paper. What you're looking for from them is ideas and voice, just the general levels, not the specifics of what you've written yet, just the content. And they might have suggestions for you that you'll want to merge into your future drafts, but don't get stuck waiting for them. And within a week, if you don't hear back from anybody, or whoever you hear back from within a week, incorporate those changes. And then when you've got that polished and you feel it's pretty ready, pretty tight, that's when you start going through. So you would first submit it to Jonathan for initial review, and then to Omar until he responds, and then Erik, and then after Erik, you would submit it to me. Later, when Catherine comes online, again, I don't know about Sabina or Angela, they get added to that process as well. But just do it from highest volunteer number down to lowest when you're doing that final drafting phase. Make sense? Okay, good. All right. So, Jonathan, do you still have to take off to a class at 11 in about 10 minutes? Jonathan?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I figure that's the case. Well, here's a question for everybody. So remember, I've been talking about setting up another day on the weekend for some of the other researchers who said they can't do weekdays. And I'm looking at, because of the way I'm having to do the other workshops, potentially Sunday. One of the things I was thinking of doing is I want us to still do more theory lectures and such. I haven't been able to do as many of those yet because we've been kind of getting bogged down working out this process. And I want to get back to doing more of those lectures so you guys are being introduced to more content that way. And we can have those in-depth discussions that are really great. And with you guys being fellow researchers, it's a different experience than I have on our Monday and Thursday discussions, where most of those folks are game masters and players, and they don't have the same researcher insight. So I'm hoping to have more of those lectures with you guys, because it'll be a different conversation that I really look forward to. But for the Sunday one, I'm trying to figure out time that I can fit in that is a different time period. So I'm thinking more in the afternoon, my time, as opposed to the morning, but not in the evening, because there's those who can't do evening. So I'm just making sure we have one for other researchers in other time zones and those who can't do weekdays. That's what I'm saying. You guys are not required to do 2. Remember, all you need to do is 1. But the question is, for now, while we're working through this process, still trying, because I'd like to get these blog postings rolling. I'm thinking about maybe just doing this meeting for 2 hours just for a few more weeks while we get just through this process, get everybody's blog posting going. And then once we've got your blog, everybody's got at least one blog posting out, we'll go back to the 3 hours where I can spend more time on lectures. What do you guys think of that? No comment, huh?
I'm really not very good planner, so I don't have much of a comment.
Yeah. Omar?
So you were thinking 2 hours until all of this blog posts?
Yeah, I was thinking for the next couple of weeks, just 2 hours instead of 3 hours. That basically we just use this time to get you guys to get your blog postings out the door, that you use that remaining third hour to work on your blog posting, so we can get these out the door. And then once we've gotten everybody at least one blog posting public, that third hour. So what I'm saying is, now Jonathan can't because he's got to go run his class, but I hope he'll do a little later. But for the rest of you, we'll stop when Jonathan leaves, and you guys will work on your blog posting for the remaining hour.
Okay, that sounds really good. Just what is do you guys time?
What's that, Omar?
What time is it for you guys?
It is 10:53 a.m. for me in Pacific time. Jonathan and Dan are in different time zones. What's that? What's that, Omar?
I think an extra day a month. I'm saying I think you should do an extra day for people, especially in America, because being frequently on a weekday is very limited for people.
Can you refresh your browser because you're really breaking up? Welcome back, Omar. Okay, what were you saying, Omar? Are you on mute? We got nothing from Omar right now. Omar? Hello, Omar. Hello. Okay, what were you saying? Apparently you're having connectivity issues. Shows you've only got like a 37 kilobit per second connection right now. Compared to Erik, who's got a 115 plus. Oh, now it says his connection's lost. Oh, it's another thing I need to do is see about moving that server within here. I want to hear what Omar said. I can't hear him. Hello, Omar.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, how is it now?
It's good.
Good. Okay, so what were you saying?
Just that I think the weekly convention really good because it's so early on a weekend.
We're still having, oh my goodness, we're still having issues on your end. Make sure your video is not streaming. Looks like you're trying to send video, and that will choke out your connection.
Sorry about that.
Okay, try that again.
I'm there with people who don't want to it.
I don't know what's going on with your connection right now. I cannot understand. You cut out really badly. Can you write up a quick email with what you're saying? Because I really want to know what you were trying to say about the schedule.
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay. I heard that. But every time you try to say more than a word or... Yeah, every time you try to say more than a word or two, it just starts to go robotic and cuts out. So...
Yeah, sorry, my internet has been crazy. I'm not actually sure why.
Sorry that it's been so problematic. Yeah, write up an email response and fire it off to all 4 of 5 of us. And
it's really not big deal. I'm just saying Sundays are a good day to add. That's it.
Sundays could be bad or good.
Good.
Okay.
For you, battling for you on a weekday.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'd still keep Tuesday at the time and date, that we're doing currently. And then...
I know, but it's also we can't do it early on a weekday.
Yeah, 9 a.m. is a little early for me after being up so late, but I mean, it isn't yet.
Yeah,
it is yet another meeting I have to be at. You would not believe how busy my schedule is, but it'll get there. I'm going to have other people start. I'm going to start delegating stuff once people get trained up enough. Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking like Sunday, noonish or 1ish or something for a second researchers meeting. Which again, you're all welcome to attend if you want to, because that might give you a little bit, to prep before the Tuesday meeting, what have you. But it's geared more for the people in other time zones that, or that just can't do weekdays in the morning because they've got jobs. It'll let them be able to still be active on with the Sunday meeting. So, doing the same thing with our game masters. We have a Saturday game masters workshop, and things like that. So we're just trying to accommodate the people who can't work on weekdays and weeknights. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and call it good here. You guys, Jonathan's got to go to his class, but the rest of you spend this remaining hour working on your blog postings, please. Just do the discipline of just spending the next hour that you already allocated, work on your blog postings. If you're reviewing somebody else's, the first thing you should do is review somebody else's and fire it back to them so they can get theirs progressed, and then work on your own. But when the reviews come in for now, let's just get these. We want to get these cranked out. If there's any way we could get these done in the next week or so, or at least closer to done, I'd really love to see that. So use this hour to really work on that. And we'll do that for the next week or 2 or 3, whatever it takes, till everybody's had at least one posting. And then I'll start bringing the lectures back in. And hopefully that helps everybody. But keep allocating the time. Still plan on the 3 hours. I know Jonathan can't do that, but the rest of you plan on the 3 hours. And then as we need, we will use that time for you to focus on doing the blogs. Any last comments or questions anybody wants to make before we wrap up this meeting today / tonight?
Thing on my end.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Okay, thank you, Omar. Dan?
So I should just fire off the article with the...
Yeah, go ahead and fire it off to Eric, Omar, and Jonathan. Fire off your rough draft.
Erik, Omar, and Jonathan.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Any last words, Jonathan?
No.
All right.
Good meeting and a good plan.
All right, great. Thank you, everybody. We're going to get this going, and I'm going to spend this next hour. I think I'm going to fiddle with the workflow part to see if I can get that to be a little more functional. So I'll be playing around with that. So don't be surprised if you start getting little notifications and stuff, but don't worry about them yet. We'll talk about them next time. Have a great day. Have a great afternoon. Have a great evening, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Be well.